Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to Key West Ford TV. Welcome to a rainy day in New Westminster. It's starting to come down a little bit. Wanted to get this thought off to you. We had a customer of ours ask the question about how do we put value or appraise value on a vehicle that's out of province or out of country. And I want to give you a little bit of a background on how we do that. And I want to start by helping you to understand that British Columbia is a bit of a sweet spot. We have environmental concerns that go into making sure that we don't have a lot of salt on our roads. The industrial waste and those kinds of things is less in our province. And that affects a lot of other industries, including the car business. So when you're buying a vehicle, a used vehicle, the most idealistic situation is actually to buy a vehicle that is local, which means it's from British Columbia and preferably has no accidents or very few accidents, because that's going to give you the most residual value over the length of time that you own that car. But again, the customer's question was, well, how do we put value or appraise a vehicle that does come from out of province? Well, you need to understand that when a vehicle comes from out of province, so say it's from Alberta or Saskatchewan or somewhere else, there are reconditioning costs that go into that vehicle. We have to do an out of province inspection. We typically have to do certain safety measures to it. And as well, the cost to the consumer then is you don't necessarily know what is wrong with that vehicle if it's been on roads that are salted a lot the majority of its life. And so there's a lot of maybe hidden issues with those vehicles. And so it can be a bit of a gamble. Now, having said that, buying a vehicle out of province is not a bad thing. I think the industry itself kind of puts a bit of a bad taste in people's mouths about buying a vehicle out of province. I grew up in Alberta, in northern Alberta, and I know the majority of vehicles I've owned in my lifetime have come from Alberta, and I've had no problems with my vehicles. And the majority of people in other provinces do take good care of their vehicles, and just because a vehicle is originally from Edmonton does not mean that it was a rig worker's work truck. And as well, you got to take into consideration things like kilometers and years of ownership. And if a vehicle is maybe a couple years old and it's less than 20 or 30 or 40,000 kilometers, the fact that it's been driven on salty roads or something of that nature is really irrelevant because the vehicle itself is so new. Now, when you're talking about a vehicle that's maybe 5 or 6 or 7 years old and you're talking over 60, 70, 80,000 kilometers, then there might be a need to worry. Out of country, well, there's a lot of factors that go into that, and there's no, perfect, mathematical equation or cookie cutter answer to help our consumers understand how we put value or appraise a vehicle that's from out of country, from the United States. Typically speaking, when we buy a vehicle from out of country, whether it's a trade-in or we purchase a vehicle, you have to understand things like the cost of actually acquiring that vehicle is less because vehicles are sold cheaper in the States because of supply and demand. There's as many people in Southern California as there is in the entire country of Canada. And so you got to understand supply and demand is different in the United States than it is in Canada. So again, that goes into affecting how we appraise an out of country vehicle. So I apologize if I'm not able to give a complete black and white answer. I think what consumers need to understand is there's many different factors involved: years, kilometers, condition of the vehicle, potential accidents or declarations, and all of those things are going to be taken into consideration when appraising or putting value on a used vehicle that we bring in and are going to resell. What you need to understand is that Key West Ford is going to take care of you. We have a Buy with Confidence program for a reason. 30-day exchange policy, 6-month warranty, 129-point inspection. You get a car proof report showing you where the vehicle's from, and of course the expertise and professionalism of all of our staff here at the dealership to make sure that we're selling you a vehicle that you're going to appreciate and own for a long time. My name's Ryan, down at Key West Ford, 301 Stewardson Way. If you have any questions, hit us at keywestfordtv@gmail.com. Have a good afternoon.